Imagine being shot in the head. Not grazed, not clipped, a full lethal impact. Your skull fractures, your brain is damaged, your body collapses. And then, seconds later, you stand back up. Bones realign, blood vessels reseal, brain tissue reconnects. No scars, no damage, no weakness. This is the defining power of the Wolverine, a man whose body regenerates faster than almost anything biology should allow. But here's the real question. Is Wolverine's healing factor pure fantasy? Or is it something that science would allow in the real world? Because humans do heal. A lot of animals heal better than humans. And modern medicine is already pushing regeneration far beyond what was possible even 20 years ago. So today, in today's episode, let's break this down properly. The Wolverine's regeneration is often described as fast healing, but that massively understates what it actually does. His healing factor allows him to survive gunshot wounds and stab wounds in seconds, regrow or reconstruct entire damaged organs, heal deep lacerations without scarring, neutralize poisons and toxins, recover from radiation exposure, resist disease and infection, dramatically slow aging, and survive injuries that would kill any normal human instantly. Crucially, his body does not merely repair damage, it rebuilds tissue perfectly. In real humans, healing is messy. We form scar tissue, our blood vessels grow back irregularly, function is often reduced afterwards, and our recovery is slow and often incomplete. Marvel's Wolverine shows none of that. Every injury resets him to his factory condition. When you cut your skin, your body doesn't fix it like a machine. Instead, it goes through a process. First, it stops the bleeding through clot formation. Then it triggers inflammation. Then it sends immune cells to kill bacteria that may have gotten in the wound. Then it activates fibroblasts to lay down collagen. And finally, it slowly remodels the tissue over weeks or months. This process prioritizes speed and survival, not perfection. Scar tissue forms because it is fast, strong, and resistant to re-injury. Perfect regeneration would take longer and dramatically increase the infection risk. The same compromise exists internally. Heart muscle heals with scar tissue. Spinal cord injuries rarely regenerate, and brain damage is normally permanent. Human healing is a survival strategy, not a repair strategy. Despite our human limitations, regeneration is very real in nature. Axolotls can regrow entire limbs, spinal columns, brain tissue, heart tissue, and even skin without scarring. Starfish can regenerate entire arms, sometimes their entire bodies. And zebrafish can regenerate heart muscle perfectly, restoring full function. These animals revert cells near an injury into a stem-like state and rebuild the tissue from scratch. Humans briefly share this same ability just before birth, but then they permanently shut it down. Human embryos can heal wounds without scars, with extraordinary regeneration. Unfortunately, as we mature, this ability shuts down. Evolution instead prioritizes a strong immune response, stable, specialized cells, aggressive cancer suppression, and predictable development. Regeneration is powerful, but is also dangerous. Rapid cell growth increases the mutation risk significantly. So we essentially trade regeneration for stability and an increased lifespan. Logan's healing requires rapid, repeated cell division across his entire body. That behaviour is indistinguishable from cancer. In humans, even slightly increased cell division raises the cancer risk dramatically. DNA copying is never perfect. Yet the Wolverine never develops tumours. For this to work, his body would need near-perfect DNA repair, continuous genetic error checking, an instant destruction of abnormal cells, and an absolute control over where growth is allowed. This is biological precision beyond anything that nature and evolution has so far produced. As ever, energy is also a problem. Regeneration is expensive. Even normal healing increases the calorie requirement of a human. Broken bones, for example, raise metabolic demand for weeks. Now scale that up. The Wolverine repeatedly regrows muscle, blood, organs, and connective tissue. Realistically, this would require an enormous calorific intake, extremely efficient digestion, enhanced nutrient absorption, and possibly a dedicated energy storage mechanism. Yet the Wolverine largely eats like a normal human. Without sufficient energy, regeneration would literally consume the body itself. And we should also remember, fast healing does not prevent pain. Every injury the Wolverine suffers would activate pain receptors, trigger massive stress responses, risk neurogenic shock, and threaten the loss of consciousness. Humans can die from shock alone. For Wolverine to remain functional, his nervous system must suppress pain, stabilize blood pressure, and protect the brain from swelling. His healing factor must include deep neurological redesign, not just tissue repair. We also see in the Marvel films that Wolverine ages extremely slowly. This implies constant cellular renewal, the removal of senescent cells, protection of DNA ends, and continuous tissue regeneration. Science is exploring fragments of this through senolytics, telomerase research, and stem cell therapies. But pushing these systems too far dramatically increases the cancer risk. The Wolverine also shrugs off poisons, alcohol, and infections. This would require additional, highly active detox enzymes, rapid immune response, and continuous replacement of damaged cells. Again, a perfect balance is the only real explanation here. So, could we ever replicate part of this? A full Wolverine-level healing is almost certainly impossible, but partial versions of it would be realistic. For example, scar-free wound healing, a faster trauma recovery, organ regeneration, improved radiation resistance, and a slower biological aging. Individually, those are realistic. The Wolverine represents the extreme endpoint of all of those put together, biology pushed far beyond its safe limits. If the Wolverine's healing were real, it would come at a price. Constant metabolic stress, elevated cancer mutation risk, psychological trauma from repeated injury, and a body permanently operating at its absolute limit. Evolution avoids such perfection for a reason. We should also probably mention at this point the Wolverine's other special characteristic, his adamantium. Wolverine's indestructible metal skeleton creates enormous biological problems. Bone marrow produces blood cells. Encasing it in metal should cripple blood production. Metal transfers heat efficiently. Extreme impacts could cook surrounding tissue faster than regeneration can repair it. For his healing to function, Wolverine's biology must somehow protect the bone marrow, interface living tissue with metal, prevent heat damage, and maintain flexibility around rigid bones. This pushes his healing factor even further beyond realism. Wolverine is not unique in sci-fi. Super healing appears again and again across science fiction, and each version explores a slightly different biological limit. In Deadpool, regeneration is even faster, but that comes at the cost of severe cellular instability, scarring, and psychological damage. In Star Trek, advanced medical technology can regrow organs and heal massive trauma, but only in the controlled environment of the sickbay, using external energy and time. In Doctor Who, Time Lords regenerate entire bodies, but with strict limits, a finite number of regenerations that comes with a massive energy release, acknowledging the biological cost. In The Boys, characters with healing abilities often suffer instability, emotional damage, or catastrophic failure when pushed too far. Across sci-fi, the pattern is consistent. The more powerful the regeneration, the higher the price. The Wolverine stands out because he appears to pay no price at all, really, which is precisely why his healing factor breaks realism. So, could Wolverine super healing really exist? Not as shown. But the science behind it is real and advancing rapidly. Wolverine isn't impossible because regeneration is fantasy. It's impossible because perfect biological control may be more dangerous than death. And on that note, I'm Dr. Dan Stokes. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe.